Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome back to the railway for another review. This one is one of the old style Bachmann models, which I must admit I love because they're just so well built, they always run fantastically, so I must admit if I ever see one that I've not got, I do snap it up quite immediately. And here it is, this is it, it's the Lord Nelson class, which was a Maunsell 460 of course. There's the box of course, you've probably seen boxes like it before. On the end of it you can see you've got the item number 31-402, Lord Nelson 30851, Sir Francis Drake, BR Green. So yeah, this one is in the BR Green livery. And if I very quickly lift up this flap, you can see you've got quite a nice diagram of the locomotive there, which is always quite interesting to look at, I think. And you've also got a brief history of the class there, which is very, very tiny, but I've done my best to get a shot of that, so hopefully if you want to, you can pause it and read it. And this style of box also has the little window in the front, so that you can see the engine if you want to, but I think the lights will pretty much make sure you can't see that. So yeah, let's get this one out straight away. And I believe this box is a very, very tight fit, so I can't often get this one, no, I can't get it out. And I don't like to force it, so what I tend to do is I open it at the other end, like that, and then just push it out, and it seems to work then. But yeah, it's a very tight fit, and I don't like to force these things. Oh, you see, it's causing a faff getting it out of there. Okay, I'll show the instructions first then, and I say instructions, but they're not really, it's just one of those exploded diagrams. Now I actually find these exploded diagrams really interesting. I don't know if anybody else does, but yeah, I just like to look at them actually, they're quite cool. It helps you understand how these models fit together and all that. But yeah, very useful if you ever need to take things apart, but other than that, no instructions of any kind. Okay, so let's start getting this one out then. We'll start with the tender, and this is one of those articulated 8-wheel tenders, just like I've seen before on the, what was it, the M15 I think. So yeah, I've never seen a Bachmann one with it though, so yeah, it's an 8-wheel tender with the dual bogies, which is quite cool. So yeah, there it is, nice tender, quite heavy, with metal wheels of course. Looks to be quite nicely detailed, more on that in a second. Let's get the locomotive out then. And yeah, it really is a fantastic loco. I don't know how I'm going to get this one out. It's like stuck fast in its box to try and coax it out. Ooh, it's a horrible box. I got it. No, I haven't got it. Something's putting up a fuss. God. I think this box has to win the award for the most horrible box. It really is a pain in the neck to get things out of. But there's the engine, really nice heavy engine, and it seems to have some really nice detail as well. It's a beautiful class. And if I put the tender with it, there we go, you can see what it looks like together. So yeah, a gorgeous class of locomotive. It's a lot bigger, I think, than the N15 or the S15. Yeah, it looks like a very big engine. Anyway, I'm going to get this one reviewed for you then, but first here's a little bit of information about the class and a bit of their history. So the Lord Nelsons were designed by Richard Maunsell and introduced onto the Southern Railway in 1926. They were intended for continental boat trains, although this class of heavy 4-cylinder locomotives also hauled express passenger services on the western region of the Southern Railway. The first of the class, or the prototype, was number E850 and had the name Lord Nelson, and actually this is the only example that's been preserved. Only 16 of the class were constructed though, and this one was built in 1928 and scrapped in December of 1961. Otherwise, all but just that one of the class were scrapped. And there she is then, Sir Francis Drake, number 30851, looking absolutely gorgeous I think against this white background. And you know, this model is aging a little bit. It must be 10 years old, if not maybe even 20, or maybe more, who knows. But even though it's pretty old, it's got quite a lot of detail, and I think really it does stand up to some of the modern locomotives. I mean, look at all the separately fitted detail here. You've got this pipework here, golden pipework, looks very nice. And of course you've got the handrail and the pipework above that. And in front of the cab you've got all this golden pipework. It's just marvellous really how much separately fitted detail there is on it. But I suppose the thing that lets it down a little bit is the nameplate. If you look at it up close, you can see it's not terribly nicely painted, and it's starting to show its age a little bit, that is. But other than that, the painting and the livery looks fantastic. I mean, look at these, you've got the sort of double bands, I suppose you'd call them, with the black and red or orange on the main boiler, which is pretty nice. And you've got the lining which goes along the, whatever this is, the plate of the engine. You've also got it on the steam chest and of course on the side of the cab. And while we're on the side of the cab, just look at that. I mean, rivets everywhere. You've got really nice printing there. You can see it's a 7p. You've got glazed windows with the gold paint around it. It just looks fantastic. It really does. Of course, you've got the separately fitted whistle, which looks plastic there, sadly, but the safety valves there just next door definitely look metal to me. Round the front, the smoke box door is quite nicely detailed. You've got the running number painted onto there as well as what looks like a separately fitted handrail. The buffer beams are pretty simple, I would say, and the buffers aren't sprung. Hang on, let me demonstrate just to prove it. See, not sprung. But you have got the lamp irons on there and the pre-fitted vacuum pipes as well, which look pretty good. And of course you have those smoke deflectors as well, which always tend to make the locomotives look a bit more elegant, I think. So yeah, a very nicely detailed locomotive, lots of rivets, lots of detail, and lots of separately fitted parts. Let's take a look inside the cab then. Now, we've got a couple of drivers there on on chairs. That's really strange, isn't it? I don't ever remember seeing them on chairs before. I know they had like a little perch sometimes at the side of the cab, but on chairs in the middle like that, that looks really, and they're bolt upright in their chairs as well. That can't be right, can it? Maybe they were pre-fitted by the previous owner, who knows. But yeah, we haven't got any painted cab detail, but we have got the painted Bill and Ben in the cab on their chairs. So yeah, I've never knew about that before. Surely they wouldn't have had chairs like that in the middle of the cab. Okay, I'll stop banging on about the chairs then and we'll move on to the tender. So yeah, as I said earlier, this is the large tender with the articulated wheels, which means it must have carried a lot of coal and a lot of water. So, you know, that sort of implies that they would do lots of long journeys. And yeah, it looks a fairly detailed tender. The crest is very nicely applied and you've got that orange lining which continues. The coal looks a little bit large scale, unfortunately. That's definitely railroad coal. But other than that, the detail on it seems to be pretty nice, and you have got these little tiny metal handrails on it, which looks fabulous as well. Round the back you have got another vacuum pipe which takes pride of place there, as well as moulded lamp irons and other little bits of detail. So yeah, generally a fantastic looking locomotive. I think the detail on it is really, really good, and you know, I'm proud to have this run on my railway because even though it's old, it still looks fabulous, and age is something that really doesn't bother me with these things. So yeah, that's the Lord Nelson class. Let's get her onto the track and see how she runs. So there she is then, down onto the tracks, ready to run, and she's going to be coupling up to 4 Pullman coaches, and I thought they'd be nice for her because she's such a smart engine. And on the middle line I've got another Maunsell 460. This one's a little bit smaller, and it's the N15, number 773, this time in a southern livery, and she's got some of the 40th ambulance train coaches from Bachmann there, 3 of those, so hopefully that should look quite nice. I don't get those running all that often. And then on the very inner line, yet another Maunsell loco. This one is the Schools class, or the most powerful 440 ever to run in the UK. And she's got some of the standard southern coaches. She's got 5 of those. So hopefully that should look pretty nice. Let's try this Lord Nelson then, see how she gets on. Now she's parked right on a point there, and I do like to do that because it proves that they are truly good runners if they can, you know, if they can work faultlessly over a point. So here we go, a little bit of slow speed performance then, see how she does. Oh, she's off backwards. And as you can see, she is moving. There's a little bit of cack in between some of the spokes on that wheel, so I'll have to try and get that out at some point. But that is marvellous. That really is very good. Let me send her forwards. Look at that. It's very, very smooth. And you know, again, an old model doing this. And it's silent, I can't hear anything. Once it gets a little bit faster, it does get a bit more noisy. But yeah, not a problem. Okay, bit more speed then. As you can see, it's beautifully smooth and all that linkage and valve gear looks amazing. Okay, off to the coupling then. Steady. Oh, I don't know if it's coupled or not. I don't think it has. Shall I check? I better check. Oh no, it has, it has. It just didn't, I didn't hear the click. Okay, that's fine then. Here we go. Let's start her off. No, I need to change direction first. That might help. Okay. There she goes. And the N15 then. There she goes, a beautiful DCC start. And last but not least then, the Schools class. There we go, very nice. And let's have a running session with these 3 southern engines then. And out on the layout today there are 5 other Southern engines hiding, and you got to tell me which is the odd one out. That's today's little task. So yes, there should be one odd one out, if I've done it properly. And there's the Lord Nelson, looking superb as she goes. Just cruising along so quietly and smoothly. It's a classic Bachmann model, this. Just brilliant performer. Superb. And the old schools class is running very nicely too. Mustn't forget about her. There she goes. That's a railroad one, but I still quite like that one. It's a very good engine. I love the N15. As I say, that model was my favourite for a very long time. Yep, gorgeous. She still runs great. With a service every now and again, she still keeps smooth. And now for my ratings then for the Bachmann Lord Nelson class. First of all then, detail. I think the detail on this is pretty darn good, and I think that basically covers it. Performance, 8 out of 10, quite a noisy runner, and that articulated tender did cause a bit of trouble to begin with, but I managed to sort that out, so now it's pretty good, 8 out of 10. Character, 10 out of 10. I think all of Maunsell's locomotives have outstanding character, and Bachmann have captured it marvellously. The build quality is pretty high as well. I've given it 9 out of 10, nothing's broken off it, and it seems to be built really well, and it seems also to be a real quality model. Value, 10 out of 10. I only paid 30 quid for this one at a model train fair, which is really, really good, I think, especially for what you get. So overall then, 9 out of 10. I give it an extra point for its age, because, you know, for a 10, 20-year-old model, that really is very good. So, yep, 9 out of 10. Ooh, let me know which of the 3 is your favourite then. So you got the Lord Nelson, the N15 or the schools class? Alright then folks, that should just about do it for today. That's my review of the Bachmann Lord Nelson class. The model's getting on a little bit, but it's still a fine model and I really do like it. So if you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave it a like or even a comment, because as you know, I do love it when you guys get in touch. And also if you'd like to, you can send me your photos or drawings or whatever to samstrains@outlook.com, and I'll put them up on the wall of fame for you, as you can see right there. And that's pretty good fun. I've got quite a few of those now. And also you can check out the Facebook and Twitter pages at facebook.com/samstrains or twitter.com/samstrains. It would be lovely to see you on there. But for now, that's it. So thank you once again for watching. Much appreciated, and lovely to have your company, of course. And I'll see you very soon. Cheers, everybody.